Um, I would love for him to be able to have that freedom. And maybe that's not fair because I'm overlaying me upon him, and it's extremely selfish, and I know that. But I want him
How
to
long have
have
you guys been married?
just 7 years. And I want him to have the freedom I have. And I think that he would love that. He's an architect, so he is as grounded as his buildings. And I get to travel. I'm gone every month at least once for 5, 6 days or longer. And he is home, not traveling. So that would be the one thing I would like help doing is magically transforming his world.
That is, he is a very blessed man to have a wife like you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's totally serious. It's just that is so that is so cool. So have you guys talked about this?
Yes, every time I pack a bag.
Um, does he have his own company or does he go ahead? And how
Yes.
long has he owned his own company?
Let's see. I think he started his first company when he was in his 20s. And he's an inventor. He is the person. That first company was not architecture. It was the clip that goes on a roof to put Christmas lights up and not destroy your shingles.
Fun,
Yeah. So
fun.
he's traveled the world and manufactured in China and loves to travel. But then after that, reinventing himself and going back into architecture. And he loves his business.
And how many employees does he have?
5.
I'm thinking, hmm,
Hmm.
um, you're fascinating. I love talking to fascinating people.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
yeah. Um, Anything else you'd love help on?
Oh, let's see. I think for me personally, um, I think I'm on the cusp of reinvention again. And I would love to know or have help with that reinvention. I don't know what it is yet, but I feel changes in the air.
Yeah, nice. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to anyways. Um, so my wife says, when she gets through and she says, I'm not sure what he does for a living, but when she gets through that, she's like, I think he's a mental chiropractor. Like,
Ooh.
right?
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Right? But Nora, she'll vouch. I'm really like a 3-year-old boy. So,
Look at Nora's face.
right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, like I'm just curious. Like I sometimes ask questions, and my wife's like, "You can't ask that question." I'm like, "Why not?" So there's a reason for every question that I ask. So if I ever ask a question and you're like, "What's the reason?" You can ask, "What's the reason?" There's a reason for it. So I know I'm not supposed to ask this, but I'm going to anyways. How old are you?
70.
Really?
Hmm.
Wow. No way.
I am. By the way, I had to think about it for a minute.
Right? Right? That's what I'm saying. Um, Man, are you young?
Thank you. I feel young.
Oh, you look young. Your energy is young. Everything's young. It's like, wow. Um, so the reason I ask that, it seems like every 10 years, and it can happen in between the 10 years. So I'm 61, Nora's 29,
Oh, are you?
right?
Yeah. Oh,
Baby. Like, oh,
baby.
How
Sorry, Nora, but you're younger than my children by a
cool,
bunch.
right? And
Mm,
so, um, and so every 10 years, unless somebody's stuck,
yeah.
um, unless somebody's stuck, every 10 years, it seems like they go through a pretty major, metamorphosis. They just change. It's like,
Mm.
and so I can't wait until February 6th. Nora and I are thinking of switching our birthdays this year. So hers is December 4th and mine is February 6th. So,
Okay.
you know, she's going to turn 30. So she could turn 30 a few months later, and I could turn 62 a few months earlier because I'm hoping, because typically it's from like it'd be from 59 to 61. And
Mm,
it's like at 62, hopefully, that's what I'm banking on. Because I
yeah.
feel, I don't know how. I mean, so my wife and I, we have 7 kids and 10 grandkids. And so I feel like with 4 daughters, I feel I might be an expert in this, but I feel like I'm a girl going through puberty,
Oh, whoa.
right? I do. It's like my emotions and everything. I don't know. And I'm in a really blessed season where I don't have to work.
Nice.
I don't have to make money. And
Mm-hmm.
um so it's like there's all this stuff on my heart that I want to help out and do all these things. And so that's why I asked, because I'm like, I wonder if she's right between a dimension and
Mm-hmm.
are, and so that's really cool.
Yeah. You nailed it. That's exactly what's going on. And I had my last transformation, and I really thought, oh, this is it. I nailed it. And top of the mountain, and this is forever. And I'm fulfilled, and it's wonderful. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, here we go again. Nope.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, come on. Like it's just crazy. But it's cool too.
Mm.
Like like it's interesting because when I play pickleball, I play during the day when normal people are working. All the other people that I'm playing with, most of them are older than me, and so when they ask, they're like, "How old are you?" I'm like 61, and they're like, "Really?" And it's like you play like a 40-year old, and it's like, "Oh, thanks." I'd prefer if they said 20, but that's okay. And so,
No, 40 is cool. Think about that.
I
You don't want to
know
be 20.
I well, on the pickleball court, it's so
Okay.
much
Yeah.
fun.
All
It's so
right.
much
Fair
fun to
enough.
beat 20-year-olds on the pickleball court. They think,
Mm.
you're an old guy. It's like, we'll show you who's old. Kind of a strange question, but one that helps me understand people. Which of these 4 shapes would you tend to like the most, Allison? A cube, a pyramid, a wavy line, or a ball? A cube, a pyramid, a wavy line, or a ball?
Wavy line.
And then after that, a cube, pyramid, or ball?
Um, Ball.
Nice. And then after that, a cube or a pyramid.
Pyramid.
And which of these 4 things would cause you the most frustration in any area of your life? Things not being done properly or in order, out of control, boring or not fun, or conflict with others. Again, out of order, out of control, boring or not fun, or conflict with others.
Boring or not fun.
And then after that, out of order, out of control, or conflict with others.
What would I like the least?
Yeah, what would you like the least? Which would be the hardest for you?
Uh, Out of control, out of order,
Or conflict?
conflict. Mm, Control, I guess.
Gotcha. And then after that, out of order or conflict with others.
Mm, Out of order.
And so you have a very interesting personality. Did you know that?
Interesting is also quite a word.
Right?
Yes.
So between those two tests, there's 65,536 possible combinations.
That's extraordinary unto itself.
Pretty cool. And
Mm.
so in the or in the geometric psychology test, you test out as an expressive, amiable personality. So one of your greatest strengths might be your energy, excitement, enthusiasm. You have a million ideas.
Hmm.
And one of your weaknesses at times might be your energy, excitement, enthusiasm. You have a million ideas.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
our greatest strength is our greatest weakness, and our greatest weakness is just our greatest strength misapplied, is taking a strength and carrying it too far. Another strength you'd have in that in the geo test is your concern, compassion for people.
Mm.
And a weakness would be your concern, compassion for people.
Right.
So in this, you're a double portion of people. And so people are going to like you because you're fun, funny, excitement. You bring so much energy and you're so caring. So people are going to absolutely just fall in love with
Hmm.
you. And that's good, but in business, it can hold you back.
Hmm.
Because in business, there's a lot of tasks that need to be done that people get in the way of getting those tasks done. And so in the pain quadrant test, you test out as an expressive, same as the geo test. So you're a double expressive.
Mm.
What that means is that you're like energy and ideas on steroids.
Okay. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, it's like your mind is just always going and you have all these creative ideas, all this energy, all this stuff. And it's like, wow, you know, there's a lot there. Your secondary, though, you switch on that test and you go over to a driver personality. So what that means is um, one of your greatest strengths at times would be your drive, your assertiveness, you make things happen. And weakness at times would be your drive, assertiveness, you make things happen.
Jersey girl, don't
Yeah,
get in my way.
right. Right. So there's this tension, this inner conflict, um, like always fun, always exciting, always there. But then sometimes you're really super nice, and other times you can run somebody over. Like there's this
Mm.
tension, like your right foot's on the gas and left foot's on the brake. And so there's inner conflict. That inner conflict is not bad. It just is. So learning how to go ahead and have the wisdom understanding of where you're in more control of that.
Hmm.
I believe that as we get older, if we heal, so Nora's, my life vision that I was given when I was 8 is to touch every single person in the world, one person at a time, make a huge difference in every aspect of their life in a really fun and exciting way. And so it's 8 billion people. So I've known that for 53 years. And so it's like, this is what you've been created for. Nora's is a lot simpler, but harder. Hers is healing, just straight out healing, helping people to heal. And so she and I have only known each other 5 months.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. And so the connection that she and I had the first time we met, it was insane. I mean, it was just, and it's only gotten more. Like it's just cool. So she's a pilot, so she's a pilot, and she and her 3-year-old son and my wife and I flew to Mackinac Island, a couple weekends ago, and it was a lot of fun. And so, doing research on the book, the book she and I are writing is Your Voice in My Headset, and so it's on friendship. And so, how do you develop deep, close friendships, and then how do you connect all of that together to help people really understand what they were created to become, and then
Mm.
help empower people to do that?
Wow. 5 months and you have connected this deeply. That's so beautiful.
Oh, the first connection, not the first one, the second one, because the first one, so she came over, my wife and I moved to Northern Indiana from the Chicago area 4 years ago. And we built kind of a retreat center. So we own 4 acres right on the river. It's beautiful. There's a pond and
Oh,
all these decks. And so we have this heart deck that we created by a 30-foot waterfall.
oh, really?
And so, we had that we had 100 over 100 people come,
Oh,
and I didn't know who she was. I saw her with her son, and so I
oh.
didn't know, and so I just went up, introduced myself, and then said hey, and got just a little small talk, and then left. And then her sister, who's a friend and a client of ours, she comes running up to me and said, have you met Nora, my sister? And I'm like, or she said, did you meet my sister? And I said, I don't know who's your sister. She said, she's the one sitting over on the heart deck. I'm like, oh, that's your sister. I didn't know that. And she's like, you need to talk to her. I'm like, okay. She's going through a really rough time in her life. I'm like, okay. So it's okay to go deep with her? And she said, absolutely. So I turn around and she walks me back over, and then I say, your sister said that I should go deep with you. Is that okay? She says, yes. And then just boom, instantly. So she wants to be, one of her goals is to be a medevac pilot. And so I'm like, ooh, that's a really cool goal. And then based on her personality, I said, this is why you want that. And I explained the science behind it. And she's like, dang, that's really cool. So yeah, it's it's a just a wild story, just a really cool story.
That is a wild story.
Do you have any questions for me, Allison?
Um, I, why are we here? This is extraordinary.
Well, like I give my team, so I have a number of teams that I work with, and the team that works on the LinkedIn, I say, look for interesting people.
Okay.
So I say, look for interesting people, and they chose you as, as an interesting person. Um, Sometimes they choose really good, like now. Sometimes, well, people are interesting in a different way.
Okay.
And so, which is fine. Um, so I just like to talk to people, interesting people, and sometimes we just have one interesting conversation, and that's fine. I have, a bunch of different podcasts that people could join if they wanted to. So there's a whole bunch of other things. Do you have any idea what you would like to accomplish in our conversation today?
Mark, I don't, but I do find that you are extraordinary, and you also, Nora, and you have appeared in my life, and connection, wonderful. And I don't know like what the why is, and I don't really need a why. And it's lovely that you have waltzed in, and thank you.
And we feel the same about you. After the last 30-minute conversation, we could use somebody like you. Like you bring energy, like you bring energy and everything. I can ask you some other questions that will help me to better understand you, your business a little bit more, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
How many hours are you working a week now?
Um, well, it's interesting the way I design my life. So on a full work week, I will go for as many hours as I can book straight. So it will be 30, 40, as many as I can possibly book back to back. The reason for that is that I like chunks of time off.
You and I are exactly alike.
Okay. And that's the reason, so that I get to choose and design. That's why I chose the wave. I work in waves. And that is really important to me so that I'll peak it and then go into my recovery. And my recovery is 1 month I'm with my daughter and her kids in Jersey, and the next month I'm with my son and his kids in Massachusetts. And then I pepper that with being away with friends and workshops and doing other things. And when I'm off, I don't mind seeing clients like if the grandchildren are in school. So that's cool. But otherwise, I don't want to be half in, half out. I want to
Right,
be off.
right. Got it. Okay. And how many hours a week would you like? Are you working the number of hours you want? Do you want to work more? Do you want to work less?
when there's too long a run, I want to work less.
Okay.
But otherwise, I mean, I would love to have the earn more, work less. I think that's my next transformation is that um, less clients,
Gotcha.
more. I think that might be part of it.
So what would be your wow income goal over the next 12 months? What would be something that would absolutely totally rock your life, totally excite you?
Oh, I, all right. So right now, I'm earning $250,000. So
Yeah.
that's more than comfortable. So
Yeah.
a wow number would be, I don't know, a million.
Nice. Nice. I like that number. And a minimum, would it be 250 or would it be
Yeah, minimum is 250.
okay, gotcha. All right. And how
Because
many
because I can do that. I know
and
I
how
can
many
do that.
hours a week would you ideally like to be working?
5. I mean,
Okay. You know,
although I actually don't know if that's true
well,
because
right,
intellectually,
right.
I also don't know what I would do with the other 50. So
I
I,
think I have an idea of what you would do.
yeah.
Something even more fun than what you're already doing.
Okay, right. I would be doing something. I
You'd be
certainly,
doing right. You do something. So a lot of times people get stuck. They say they want to work less hours, but subconsciously, there's something that's holding them back because they don't know what they would do.
right,
Don't have faith that it's going to be even more fun than what they're doing. Because a lot of them, it's
right.
really fun what they're doing. So there's something
Yeah.
that's called the subconscious gap. And so,
Yes.
they, it's the difference between your wow income goal and your minimum income goal is the subconscious income gap.
Okay.
So your subconscious is great at telling what your potential is, but your subconscious sucks. Our subconscious sucks at telling us how to do it.
Yes.
That's life.
Yes.
How do you do it? Hours, the same thing. Subconscious is great at telling you what your potential is, 5 hours, but it doesn't give us the instruction. So what happens is it seems like in the universe, it seems like it's like it's a perpetual state of frustration, but it's not necessarily bad. It's what we do with it. And so if we look at it like a 3-year-old, everything's an adventure. So Nora's
Right.
son is 3 years old, and he and I go on adventures all the time together.
That's so great. I love it.
It's cool. 1 to 10, Allison, how would you rate yourself and your listening skills? How good of a listener would you say you are?
Oh, I think I'm pretty damn good. I think there's always room for growth, so I'll give myself an 8
Got
because
it.
there's never perfect.
And your sales skills, how would you rate those?
I've never looked at myself in terms of sales, so I would probably say I've never tried to sell myself.
Right, which is the best. So I'm going to give you a 10.
Okay.
So, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would you change?
My weight.
And 1 to 10, how would you rate your coachability? How coachable? 10 being the most.
Oh, I am highly coachable. My resistance is very low, so there's probably always room for improvement, so I'd give myself an 8.
Nice. And sense of urgency, 10 being the highest, one being not at all. How would you rate just your sense of urgency just in anything?
Oh, yeah, high. 8, 9.
Nice. And what causes you, Allison, to have a high sense of urgency when you do?
Um, I want it. now. If it's possible, then I'm not going to wait for it.
And why do you think that is?
That life's way too short. If the top of the mountain is possible, then I'm out of here.
Gotcha. Nice. And 1 to 10, how much of a procrastinator would you say you are? 10 being the highest, one being not at all?
Oh, uh, I am not a procrastinator except for things I don't want to do.
So
So,
1 to 10.
um, well, like I have to give you an average between that which I hate and that's what I
Yeah,
love.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, I'll give myself a seven then.
Okay. And when you do procrastinate, why do you procrastinate when you do?
Oh, I have to do shit that I hate that should be delegated to someone else.
Man, I like you a
I
lot.
love that.
Excellent. And if you were being coached or mentored or somebody was partnering with you or any of that, and they thought you were procrastinating, how would you like them to respond to you?
Oh, just frickin' get it done so it's out of your brain. Stop it. It's taking up too much of your headspace. Knock it off.
And if they did that, would it work?
Okay, fine. Yes. That's my response. Fine. I'll do it.
You're adorable. Um, and if somebody said the following to you, how would you respond? So if somebody said to you, Allison, I think you're coachable at a 2. Your listening skills are a 1.5. Your sales skills are a 3. Your sense of urgency is a 3.5, and you're a 10 on procrastination. If somebody said that to you, Allison, how would you respond?
One of us doesn't know me.
Interesting. And then what?
Then it would be, I have lived with me much longer than you have. And it makes me feel that I am showing up in your presence as a completely different person. And I need to know what behaviors I am exhibiting in front of you that you're seeing that have not shown up before, and what the hell is going on here.
So this question here took 18.5 years for me to go ahead and come up with.
Hmm.
And I've been using it for over 30 years. And I've never had anybody ever say what you just did, ever,
In 18 years, oh my,
in over 30 years. Yeah,
hmm. Over 30 years. That's interesting.
it's fascinating.
Um, what kind of answers do you usually get?
Um, so they range. So most people think they're really coachable. So they say
Mm-hmm.
an 8, 9, or 10 when they're really a 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so some will go ahead and people who aren't coachable say, well, the person's wrong. I had one that said, I'd never talk to the person again. Um, you know, well, so that's very uncoachable. Um, Middle coachability is it depends who's saying it to me. And so, and then really high coachable is going to be like, that's fascinating. Like, why are you saying? So they're curious about what the other person is. So they're curious about what the other person is seeing, and they're open to, they're not resistant to a difference of opinion, even if it goes totally opposite of where they're at. And
Mm-hmm.
so so what it does is it tests for coachability.
Okay.
And so if people aren't, so most people think they're open, but most people are not open. And so,
Right.
is there any other questions, Allison, that we should? Do you have a couple more minutes or you got to run?
No, actually, my next client has a sick child and she canceled.
Gotcha. So you got a couple more minutes.
I do.
Okay. Um, is there any other questions that we should have asked that we didn't ask, or any additional information we should know that we don't know?
Um, let's see. Well, I know your sole purpose here, and I know Nora's sole purpose and why she's here. Do you feel that you know my sole purpose?
Um, I think it's complicated. I think there's complexity. So I think you, Nora, and I are very similar in frequencies. So we travel in very, which is why the three of us connect. And so I think that I would think that your purpose for being here is you're seeking something, you're searching for something. What do you think your sole purpose is?
Um, I think that I am seeking for something that is very true. And I think I get close to it and pull away. And I just was very much going down this spiritual kind of pathway.
Can I
And
ask
then
your background on spiritual, like what you grew up or where you're at now?
um, I I didn't grow up in a highly religious spiritual family.
Gotcha. Okay.
I grew up really in my very much own form of hippie spirituality.
Gotcha.
Very
Okay.
universal thinking.
Yep.
Religious wise, I grew up Jewish and I did nothing but challenge my rabbi about spirituality. And he just fought back constantly with what makes you're naming it your own thing, Miss Hippie. And I just call it God. It's all the same thing. And we used to fight about it all the time.
Right.
And aliens and other worlds. And he's like, you're so small that you've limited your concept of everything. It's all one. Wonderful, wonderful place of being and expansion.
Right.
And then very someone's very close to me, it feels very awakened and she greatly suffers. And that made, and she suffers deeply. And my response ultimately was, to hell with awakened. That is, I don't want to suffer like that. I said to her, I'm out of here with spirituality. If that's what it means to connect
Okay.
with the universe and suffer like that, you're miserable. I don't want that. No. And completely withdrew from that space. And then slowly I am now coming back to it. And I have said to her, I think that's just your form of awakening. I don't think that that necessarily has to be my form of connection.
Right.
And so I'm coming back into that space where I can do this. I'm about to leave tomorrow for an edge walker workshop.
Okay.
And I believe my space is to be able to connect deeply rooted individuals in the corporate world with something much larger. You don't have to be an asshole. You just don't. And conscious capitalism is an organization that I think approaches that space. And I believe that connection is something that I can help people with.
Wow. Nice. Do you have any questions for me?
Um, do you walk in that space, that walk in two worlds kind of space?
So my dad, he was a Baptist pastor, so I grew up Baptist, very, 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 very conservative. I mean, very, very conservative. Still, my wife and I still go to a Baptist church. Um, the Baptists don't like me much.
Oops.
Yep. Conservative Christians, don't like me much. Um, and so our oldest son, he was 30 and he died 5 years ago. Suicide.
Mm.
And so a gunshot, rifle shot to the head with our 19-year-old son in the room 5 feet away from him. And in a way, my life hasn't changed. I mean, the life vision still as strong as it's ever been, maybe stronger now than it's ever been before. Um, but he was not only a cool son, but he was a very, very close friend of mine. So, so I think I travel in that space. Um, Probably 2 years ago, we have a beautiful property. I mean, it's just the work that we've done on it is just amazing. Nora can get you over a website for it. So it's a place of healing, a place of fun. Um, but I was walking with my wife and I said, honey, I think I found one of my big callings in life. And she's like, what's that? And I said, to be screwed by people. And she's like, well, that's pretty negative. I said, no, it's actually really good. And she says, how is that? And I said, I think it purifies the heart. So I think I resonate with your friend, but it's not like that. I'm not a victim and it's not, I mean, 99.99% of the population would dream to be, I mean, I have freedom to do anything I want. So I'm in a good place, but I hurt like I'm a huge empath. Like, so I
Mm.
can feel like little girls that are 9 years old being raped 30 times a day. I can feel all of that negative energy, but it's not negative energy for me because I think I can actually, because I'm a 3-year-old boy, I think I can actually do something about it. I think I can actually like I'm not a victim, like I can go ahead. And so I don't, I kind of like there's this fish in the bottom of the ocean, way, way down deep. And, and it it can eat atomic waste and it doesn't hurt it. And I think that I look at pain in a very different way than other people look at pain. It was just a few days after he died, um, and I was talking to Vira from Russia. She came through LinkedIn. I didn't know who she. I only had one conversation with her, and that's it. And she's like, "Do you know?" It was just a few days after. She said, "Do you know why you've healed from Jonathan's death so quickly?" And I said, well, I think so, but I don't know. Why do you think? She says, you look at death differently than other people. I said, okay, what do you mean by that? She says, you don't look at it as if he's died. Like your
Mm.
mom and dad, they died, 7, 8 years ago. Your grandmother, who was 99, she died a few years before. She said, you don't look at death. You look at death in a very different way than most people. You don't look at it as they've died. And so I think from like all things being one and interconnected, I think like I resonate with that. Like everything's interconnected.
Mm.
And I don't think pain has to be bad. And and so it's hard for me to connect with people, especially Christians, because they're so linear. In my experience, they're so linear in their thought process, and this is what it is, and this is what it is, and everything. So I think I look at the world in a very, very different way than most people. I think in so many ways, you and I look in the world very similar. I
Mm.
don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, it definitely answers my question. And your capacity to reframe pain and be able to really absorb it for other people and feel it for other people is extraordinary.
See, I'm tingles all over from the tip of my toes all the way to all the way through. And this is something like Nora, she's too young. She shouldn't know what you and I are talking about. She was
Mm.
raised Amish and she's just going through a,
Wow.
a really hard divorce. And she adopted 3 years ago. She adopted a little black boy. And she was told when she was 15, God said, "Hey, you're gonna adopt someone who's not a white, child." And so she said that. She's like, you and she are the only two people in my life who have ever articulated that concept where you can actually take pain, reframe it, and you can turn it into pleasure, you can turn it into joy, you can turn it into something so beautiful. And so it's cool that she's only 29 and she understands that concept. And that's where, like, her gift of healing, what I want to do is I want to package it. I want to put it into a system because there's 8 billion people out there that need it.
Yes.
They need the healing. And so how do we package her giftedness into something? And so I'm real big into systems. And so I can take things that it's like supernatural. It's like you can't even explain it. And I can bring it down into a natural state models, and then I can put technology and other things around it. And it's like, how do you go ahead and help people to heal?
Mm. How do you? It's a gift, Nora. It really is a very deep gift. And I think that with everyone I coach, that's the core. Those places deep within that aren't healed, and they live in the shadow.
And what's really hard is when somebody, doesn't even know they're they're not, like, it was weird. um 20 years into our marriage, going through a really hard time. Like, it was brutal. And I had an uncle who was a pastor and did a lot about marriage counseling and stuff. And I respect him a lot. And so my wife and I went there and spent time with he and my aunt. And for an hour, he just pounded at me. Not bad. I mean,
Mm.
he good intentions. He's just beating at me. And it's like, it's not getting through. Like, there's nothing. It's like a wall is up. And my aunt looks at him, looks at me, and she says, "Gary, I don't think you're getting through to Mark." Like, yeah. And he's like, "Yep." She's like, "Well, maybe I ought to give it a shot." And so this was when I was 43, so about 20 years ago. And she looked at me in the eyes and she said, "Mark, I think you've been hurt at a heart level." And I broke down and started crying, like weeping, like it was just weeping. And after I composed myself, I said, "That is so true. How do I heal?" And she's like, "I don't know." Really? But I still felt good. I still felt good. So she had the diagnosis, but she didn't have the medication. She didn't have the awareness. So for the last 20 years, I'm like, I've been pursuing this like crazy. How do you heal when you've been hurt at a heart level?
Mm.
And so yeah, it's neat. Do you have other questions or thoughts?
Wow. Um, no, not in the moment, but I do know that this isn't goodbye.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? It was interesting because a few years after that, I was in San Francisco and I went to an event. And so I would have been, I don't know, mid 40s, late 40s. There's this young lady next to me, and she was like probably in her mid 20s, late 20s. And we did this exercise together. And it was fascinating exercise. And she and I just connected. It was just, and the exercise was really powerful. And it just, boom, it just connected us. So my wife, she was there, but wasn't at the event. So we were down in the lobby she and I, the young lady and I were talking, and my wife came up, and then the three of us talked. And I said to her, I said, I perceive that you have an understanding, you have a deep understanding of people. And she kind of giggled and smiled, said, yeah, probably. I said, so what do you see with me? And I mean, we'd only talked for maybe 10, 15 minutes. I mean, it was nothing. And she looked at me and she looked at my wife and she said, you know, Mark, what I see is and I didn't tell her the other story. Like she didn't know the other story at all. So she didn't know anything about me, like nothing. There was no vulnerability, just boom. And she said, I see that your heart has steel bands around it. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, holy cow. And then I said, I'm going to trick her. Like, I'm going to trick her. I said, is that good or bad? She says, it's neither. It just is what it is. And so yeah.
Hmm. How would you describe your heart now?
So Nora and I and my oldest daughter, um, we wrote a song. It's the first song I've ever written. So Nora can send you that song too. Um, so it's like, I don't know, like the words that come to mind, the first word is confused. So my heart is confused. You know, another word that comes to mind is shattered into a billion pieces. Another word is it's okay. Like after my son died, my 3-year-old granddaughter, um, this was just a few days after he died. We were in my home office and she was in on the couch and she said, Grandpa, picture. And so there was a picture and I showed her the picture and she said, that's Jonathan. So she's 3. And she said, he's dead, Grandpa. I said, so she said, that's Jonathan. I said, it is, honey. And she's like, he's dead, Grandpa. And I said, he is, honey. And she said, and Grandpa, it's okay. And I said, it is, honey. It is. And she's the same one at 3 that a few months before he died, she was at my middle daughter, well, my second oldest daughter, Melissa. She was at her house staying the weekend, and she came up to Melissa and she put her hand on her belly and she said, baby's okay. And Melissa had had 2 or 3 miscarriages
Oh,
and she didn't know she was pregnant.
oh,
So, so here's the, and Melissa's like, baby's okay. She had no idea. Like she had no, and Christians can't explain any of this. Like there's no explanation. And if it's outside the explanation of Christians, then they don't know what to do with it. But she, like a 3-year-old, she's like, baby's okay. And so she hadn't had a baby. She had lost 2 or 3 children before. And then little Micaiah was in the womb.
oh,
And Lily put her hand on her belly and said, baby's okay. Melissa's like, what? Then she found out a few days later she was pregnant.
oh.
Oh, I'm telling you. And little Micaiah, she's 5 now. And she and grandpa are just, it's insane. And she's a healer too. She's like Nora. She's a healer. And she can just tell people's energy and she'll just go up and just wrap her arms right around you and just fold into you. And it's just like, it's just crazy.
Oh my. And Lily's the little one that
She's the
is
one that was 3
so
years old.
tuned in.
Yeah. So they're both just, it's just, so Lily's now 6 years old. Or no,
Eight.
she's 8. Yeah, she'd be 8 years old. So she's 8 years old now. So yeah, it's
Oh,
just,
wow. And are her channels still open like that?
um, I don't know if they ever will. I mean, theoretically, it's possible. So, yes and no.
Right.
Yes and no. I would say yes, she is still a very special child. Like, but you know, but I don't know. Like Nora and I have a friend, um, Elaine, and she's just down the street from us, and she's Amish. So the three of us do a lot of cool things together. And she had a gift of, like, she could, when she was a girl, she could just touch a child, just touch their skin, and she could know what was wrong with them. So I don't know if it's,
Wow.
yeah, it's just, are you familiar with indigo children?
Yes.
So I was out in Southern California and at an event out there, and I went out to eat with a bunch of ladies afterwards, and I was talking about my kids, and I was talking about my middle daughter, Katrina, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, she's an indigo." I didn't know anything. I'm like, I don't know what that is, and they're like, "Well, it's an old soul," and kind of explained it, and then I was talking about another one, and they're like, "That's an indigo too," and it's very rare that there's two indigo children. And then I started going through all, and they're like, all seven of your children are indigo. Okay, you're a very blessed man. And I'm like, sometimes I don't feel so blessed. Then I go back and I research it, and they say the skeptics of the indigo say that it's parents who have problems with their children. They say they're indigo children. Oh, I mean, so all of my kids are they're just they're insanely awesome, but so hard.
Mm.
I mean, just really, yeah. So, um, do you have any thoughts for me? Like, can you say something to me that, like, what are your thoughts of me?
Mm. Yeah. Um, that my thoughts are that you are keeping yourself tethered and that you, I think, have moments where you allow yourself to not be tethered, and I think it scares you, and that you
I don't know if
float.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's all right.
I don't know if it scares me or other people around me more. When my mom died, so I was very, very close to her. I mean, very, like, she was one of the closest people. So she died 3 years before my son died, and my dad died a year before that. And my grandmother, who was 99 years old, she died a couple of years before my dad did. So I had four very significant deaths very close. Um, and my mom and my grandmother knew that I was a very, let's say, special child.
Mm,
Like, they knew Mark's a special one. Um, um, and it was weird because my mom, a Baptist pastor and everything. And so she was, she had stage 4 cancer, and they gave her 2 to 6 months to live. And my dad was already on hospice. And I go into the hospital, and my mom went ahead and I go in and tears are running down my face. And my mom goes ahead and says, Mark, you may be the only person who can help me. And my youngest sister's a medical doctor. So I have three brothers and two sisters, and my youngest sister, medical doctor. So my sister was all involved in all the medical stuff. And so I'm like, she's like, you might be the only one who can help me. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying, Mom. She's like, Mark, how you think. And I'm like, oh, tears stop. I said, so you don't want to die? She's like, um, maybe not. I'm like, okay, you won't. And she actually lived beyond my dad. She lived for 18 months. And I think that she could have lived longer. I think that, you know, but it's okay. She was 75 and lived a beautiful life and, there's a lot, but I think she could have lived longer. And so a few weeks after that, my wife and I were out on a date, and my wife said to me, she says, "Are you sad that your mom died?" And I'm like, "I'm not sure." She's like, "What do you mean you're not sure?" I'm like, "I don't know if I'm sad." She's like, "How can you not know if you're sad?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know if it's going to benefit you and me on the date." And then she started laughing and she's like, "You're just weird." I'm like, "Well, I'm glad I'm not sad, because if you're laughing at a sad person, that would not be very nice at all." So so I think very, very differently, and I have, probably since I was 3, 4, 5 years old. I mean, it's just I see life in a very, I mean, the thing I love most about death is it awakens people. Like they understand the significance of life. The thing that's sad to me is it goes away so fast. Like it's just gone. The
Mm.
significance. And it's like I don't understand. So there's so many stories about that. So when my mom died, so my grandmother, my dad, and my mom died. And so when my mom died, I'm like, now I'm unhinged.
Mm.
And so tethered, you know. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if it scares me. Have you watched X-Men?
No.
So they're superheroes, and it's like people want to control them. They love them but fear them because of their power. So, if you're told when you're 8 years old that you're going to go ahead and impact 8 billion people and you're 61 and you still, yeah, that's possible. I can do that. Like, got some ground I can, but I can do that. Like, that's kind of a strange person or interesting person or powerful person. And so, like, it's not bad to be tethered, and it's not bad not to be. Like, sometimes a boat should be tethered so it doesn't, so it's okay. So I think I'm aware of what my abilities are and my capabilities are. And I have this heart for people, and I don't want anybody getting hurt unless they deserve to. Like if they're harming little girls, you know what? Something's got to be done about that. So if they're hurting other
Mm.
people, then I can come in. I'm fine coming in and making sure that stops. But I
Yeah.
even have a heart for the abuser. Like I just do. It's like, you know what? You need to stop. But you probably were abused. Like I just have a heart for everybody, like all 8 billion.
Hmm.
So I think you're right. It's almost like power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So I don't think I'm afraid of it, but I think I'm aware, like when I was 38 years old, Jamie Nordby out, and he was one of our clients. He said, "Mark, I hope you never get off the rails." He said, "The speed upon which and the force
Mm.
you travel is just insane." And I'm infinitely more now than I was back then.
Mm. Yeah. And I think that being tethered is necessary for the impact on the world. That when you disconnect and allow yourself into that other space fully, then the impact is different. And maybe that's where it becomes global. Maybe that is the other. And maybe it's only after you cross over that that impact occurs. Or maybe in this lifetime, when you go into that space, that impact occurs. I don't know how that works because I'm not part of that level of spirituality.
So when I was 40, it felt God telling me that I was going to die. Like, you're going to die. So then I battle with that and I say, like, soon. And in the Bible, it says, a day is like 1,000 years, 1,000 years is like a day. And, and it's like, so I'm like, soon, God, is it like, so I felt it was soon. I thought it was going to be weeks, maybe months. So I'm like, I think I'm going to tell my wife because I think it's important for her to know. So I told her. That kind of freaked her out a little bit. And then we decided to tell our kids, and that freaked them out. So I'm 61. So the last 21 years, I did not expect,
Mm.
you know? And so Nora gets a little bit jumpy around this stuff. So, you know, so I don't know. The Bible says that, you need to die to yourself.
Mm.
And so did I die to myself when I was 40? Maybe. Did I die to myself when I was 50? Maybe. Am I needing to die to myself when I'm 60? So the death to oneself, it might be physical death, and I've accepted that, you know.
Mhm.
Or it might not be. It might be just dying to oneself, and there's something even more so. And so
Right.
um
Yeah.
it's
And
fast,
and part of oneself is a death.
right?
Yes, definitely. And part of you went with Jonathan. Part of you went with your mother, your father,
Big.
your grandmother. Part of you goes with with them.
But see, I think of it differently as I feel what I feel is that a part of me didn't die. I feel that a part of them all live in me.
Interesting. I see it as a rebirthing that part does go for me. And then there's a form of a rejuvenation as it comes back in a
Well, it's
different way.
it's fascinating because the first year of his death, it took me because it didn't make sense to me. It took me 3 days to figure out how it happened because he was at one of the best points he'd ever been in his whole life. And I'm like, this makes no sense. And it took 3 days for me to reverse engineer it, get some details, get some stuff. I'm like, oh, that's what happened. Okay, probably. But the first year was hard. But when we got through the first year, I said to my wife in year two, I said, I think year two is going to be infinitely harder than year one.
Mm,
And she's like, how is that? I said, well, to deal and cope, because he was a amazing kid. Like he grabbed a part of my heart that actually Nora's got. She kind of came in and and has a part, kind of has a part that he had. And it's like pretty interesting. Anyways, so I said, so how I coped the first year is there was some stupid stuff he did. Like, just come on, Jonathan. I have to clean up about you. So the first year, it was getting through all the crap of all the stuff that I didn't like and all the stuff that just, buddy, you're just stupid. You're just stupid. Like, why did you do stupid things? Like, I don't understand it. And it's like it took a year. So I was healed within 24 hours. So getting healed is easy for me.
mm,
Staying healed is the hard part. That's the hard part. The hard part is staying healed. And
mm,
so after the first year, um, got rid of all the messy stuff, all the hard stuff. And then second year, then it was just all the amazing things that happened. So I didn't have the weight. All I had was just all the good stuff. And that was harder because there's like no new memories. It's all like that's the hardest thing. There's no new memories. But I think maybe like I think there might be new memories.
mm. Yeah. Yes.
And even before death, like I'm thinking there might be new memories, maybe this year or something. I think like about Jonathan, like pizza. I saw this a little bit with my mom, where my relationship with my mom and dad after they died changed. Like in part, they were they thought I was a lot smarter after they died. They were a lot more pleased with, not that they weren't pleased with me, they were, but some of this stuff, Mark's on the edge a little bit. Like he's a little bit on the edge. So, any other questions or thoughts that you have, Allison?
No, this was a lot, and I'm glad it's recorded. I need it.
Okay, we'll get it over to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for letting us. I just had the feeling. I'm like, ooh, this is this is precious.
This is such an intimate conversation. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And then Nora will get over information about her and my podcast. And then the 4 levels of friendship. So I've looked at friendship for decades. Like I'm like, I don't understand why people come into your life as friends and then leave. It's just it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, I don't
Mm,
understand it. So so I'm embarking on a journey to find level 4 friends, which are level 4 friends are ones where your vision connects. This
mm.
is another reason. I'm glad it's recorded. With your permission, I'll put it actually in a level 4 um, podcast if I can, if you're okay with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So people say, it takes years, Mark, to develop, deep friendships and connection. And I don't think so. Doesn't have to. It didn't with Nora and I. Didn't with you and I. Like it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. But it's like you have to have 2 people or 3 people in this situation that are willing to do that. Like you can't force it on anybody, but it's cool when it happens.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think we're back to waves being in the same frequency.
Right? In flow.
Yes.
Like that's what we've been trying. That's what we've been working on the podcast is how do you get in flow and then how do you keep in flow? Like the first 3 months of our friendship, it was insane. Like it was so cool. I'm like, I've never had a friend like this. She is absolutely perfect. And then month 4 got all wonky. It's like, oh, this is wonky. Like this is, and then now we're just finishing up month 5. And so it's like it's almost like we're tracking the journey to help other people. Like you can do this. Like there's specific intentional things that you can do, but everybody's got to, people if you want to, but you have to. Yeah, anyways, it's cool. Anything else? Nora, do you have anything?
I don't think so. This was really, really like fun and like I'm so glad I got to be here. That's for sure. This
So
is like
glad you're
my kind of
here.
like conversation and a great way to spend my day.
Lovely. It
Uh,
was wonderful meeting you, Nora. Thank you.
You too.
and then if you want to reach out, Nora will get you my contact information if you want to reach out.
Yes.
And if there's, you have a thought, like tonight I'm going to sleep really good. And then tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up, tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up and my mind is going to be on fire. It's going to be like there's going to be all these pieces that connect. And so thank you for that wonderful gift, Allison.
Thank you so much. Absolutely your gift. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we'll see ya.
Okay,
Bye
thanks.
bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.